Alright, this video is titled Sifu Matt Damon. Okay, so I think this is a relevant topic based on the discussions that we've been having about the Chinese martial arts and the Chinese culture and how it needs to be represented by the Chinese people. I mean, there's no way around it. Either the Chinese people or the Chinese Americans, they need to represent their own culture and their people. As far as Matt Damon is concerned, he's in the articles, and there's some controversy about some of his statements that he's made, pretty much downplaying the whole sexual harassment thing with women. And there's a lot of women that are really upset at him, and they had like a petition, a signed petition by like 13 million people to have him removed from the Ocean's 8 movie coming up that's supposed to have like an all-woman cast with 8 women, and he takes part in the movie. He's supposed to be in the movie. They want to get rid of him because of the statements that he's made. The statements that he's made are just insensitive, and just they're just not, he just doesn't understand. He's pretty much have this type of white man's privilege mentality, and the women are really upset at him, saying, you have no right to speak about this issue. You're not a woman, and you just don't understand what it's like. And he doesn't understand. And I'm trying to, use him as an example to say that, hey, that's what happens when you got non-Chinese people trying to speak about the Chinese martial arts. I mean, they don't understand. As a non-Chinese person, you do not know what it's like to be a Chinese person, especially if you're privileged, especially if you're not a minority. If you're African American living in America, or Hispanic, you might have an idea of what it's like, to be, to go through the struggles of what a Chinese person might go through in America. But if you're not a minority yourself, you're not going to really understand. So it's the same thing that these women are saying, is that, like, you're not a woman, you don't understand what it's like to go through sexual harassment because you are a man, so you cannot speak for us. So they're upset, and they're justified to be upset. And Matt Damon, he recently starred in this movie called The Great Wall of China. It's supposed to be about the Chinese people and the Chinese culture, and then it stars him. He's not even Chinese, and they're talking about how that's not right because they're whitewashing the film and everything. And the articles were saying about him that he's just somebody who he has a really hard time understanding these things. They even said that he made a statement where he thinks that people that are gay should not come out the closet, that it's better that they stay silent about it if they're actors, because the more mysterious that they are, the better. So he's making a lot of statements that are getting people upset. There's controversy that's around him. He's a star in a lot of movies. My favorite movie that he's in is Good Will Hunting. I like that movie. But he has the Jason Bourne series, and in the movie there's a lot of action. And just the recent one, I saw some trailers where he's punching somebody, and what I'm saying is that he is popular, he's famous, but it doesn't make him a martial artist. And even he's in action movies, it doesn't make him a kung fu master, basically. He's famous, he's in action movies, he makes a lot of money, but it doesn't make him a kung fu master. So what I'm saying, when I have this title, Sifu Matt Damon, it just shows how silly it is. This guy's not representing the Chinese martial arts. He's not a Chinese person, and he's not holding the values of a Chinese person, that a Chinese person is supposed to aim towards, as far as the values within the martial arts and within kung fu. So I think that's what it's just an example that I wanted to make. It wouldn't be right to call him Sifu Matt Damon, because he's not a Sifu. He's just Matt Damon. He's representing himself. Not necessarily have to be representing all white people, just because he's white, but you know, he if he wants to damage his own reputation, then so be it. He's representing himself, Matt Damon, and I think that when people, they gotta be very careful when they take these titles in the martial arts. So imagine if people call him Sifu. I mean, what does he have to do with the Chinese martial arts? He's not even Chinese, and he's not representing the Chinese martial arts. Even if they try to call him Sensei Matt Damon, I mean, he's not Japanese. He's not representing the Japanese culture. He's not Japan. He has nothing to do with that. So just Matt Damon. So this is who he is. And I think that there's a lot of people that are not affiliated with a certain culture that are claiming that culture. Claiming kung fu, claiming karate, claiming whatever. You're claiming kung fu, but you're not Chinese. You're claiming karate, but you're not Japanese. And then who gave you that right to claim that? Who gave you the authority to claim a label of which, of a culture of which you don't belong? And it's this entitlement thing, and the Matt Damon is an example of that. He feels that he's entitled, that, he's so famous, and he's so rich, and he's so popular that he could speak for women now, even though he's not even a woman himself. And the women who are famous, who are popular, are speaking against him. And this is not a racial thing, this is a gender thing, a gender equality. And just because he's Matt Damon doesn't give him the right to just go ahead and speak for women. What, this is the spokesperson for women now? He's not even a woman. So they're saying in the article he needs to learn to shut his mouth. And that's pretty much what I feel about the Chinese martial arts. If you're not Chinese, you're not representing the Chinese martial arts, you don't have the authority to represent the Chinese martial arts, then don't speak about it. Because if you are non-Chinese, then you're supposed to be under you're under the authority of a Chinese person. And then that Chinese person is supposed to speak, not you. And if that Chinese person cannot speak English, then you can translate in English what your Chinese master is saying. But the head authority of the Chinese martial arts is supposed to be a Chinese person. That's why they call it Chinese martial arts. So with these women that are being sexually harassed, they need to speak for themselves, or, other women who's gone through it, they could speak on it. But men, they need to keep their mouth shut unless they're gonna support the women and just encourage them to stay strong, you know. But I just wanted to bring this up to make an example, because there's a lot of people out there claiming Sifu, Sensei, and they're not even, that's not even their culture, and they're misrepresenting the culture, and that's not right, and that needs to stop, So it wouldn't be right for Matt Damon to say that he's a Sifu or a Sensei. It wouldn't be right for him to say, that he's a Kung Fu master or a karate master or a Brazilian martial art master. I mean, he needs to stick to, to the truth of where he's from, and just claim that, or just claim his name, just his name alone. And I think that a lot of people that practice the martial arts, you might love the martial arts, but if you don't have the authority from a Chinese master to represent that art, then you gotta claim your own art and represent yourself. Don't deceive people, and misrepresent an entire culture or entire group of people because of what you decide to do, or what you decide to say, But that's what I want to say.